Welcome, Sens Talk.
Here comes Sens with a pass across to the stars. He bats it in. Tim Stutzler wins it for Ottawa. Triple Grant is going to put the finishing touches on an Ottawa win. See you later. Go Sens, go.
Sens win 3-1 over the Utah Hockey Club. A massive victory mixed with elite goaltending, the offense coming through, and the defense standing tall. All three things that have not come together at the same time for your Ottawa Senators in some time. We're going to talk about that in the game notes. I have some really interesting stats. My goodness, this team and their offense has been invisible, but not tonight. No. That trend ended tonight as your Ottawa Senators take down the Utah Yeti, I think they should be called, for the Utah Hockey Club with a massive 3-1 victory. Back-to-back wins on the weekend. It's crazy. We'll talk about this in the game notes as well. But going into this game, and shout out to @ModShow for this on Twitter. They said this. It was unbelievable when they put it out there. I couldn't believe it. Ottawa going into this game 5-0 on the back-to-backs, in this month on the weekend. But on the weekday games, so on the weekend they're 5-0, but on the weekday games, 1-5-2. What is that about? No idea. But at the end of the day, they're getting it done on the weekends here in January. You just saw it on your screen there. Sorry, I was a little butchered, the explanation. Now, Brady Tkachuk, El Capitano, going into this game on a 10-game pointless streak. But your Ottawa Senators are 6-3-1 in that stretch. The Ottawa Senators are not like the Ottawa Senators of the past. This is a good team that finds ways to win no matter what adversity they are facing. The Sens are also 5-3-1 on game number 2 of back-to-backs this year. So, hold on. Best theme song in sports, ladies and gentlemen. I say it in every single video. I'm going to say it again here. Ian Mendez, anyone in the Sens organization watching this for whatever reason, I'm begging you. Please bring back the danger flutes in a much larger way. But like I was just saying, Ottawa is 5-3-1 on game number 2 of back-to-backs this year. So that's pretty remarkable when you think about it, considering the fact the Ottawa Senators have had such a tough schedule. On top of the opponents they faced, I mean, they've had some really tough opponents here in January alone. I mean, a lot of playoff teams. Majority of the teams we've been facing have been playoff teams. Essentially, like 75% of them, okay? But not only that, the traveling. Of course, the World Juniors were in Ottawa, so Ottawa's been going everywhere, had a franchise-long road trip. But also all these back-to-backs, right? All these back-to-backs. So the fact that with all the fatigue, the injuries they're dealing with, the traveling, the back-to-backs, everything in between, 12 games in the last 20 days, I mean, it's insane. It's really, really impressive that the Ottawa Senators are scrapping their way to victories. Now, a couple of line notes before we get into this game. Nick Cousins is going to be out for a while. We spoke about it in the last recap last night after that huge victory over the Toronto Make Me Laughs. Nick Cousins, unfortunately, will be out for a while. Got injured there on that knee-on-knee injury. Really tough situation there for Nick Cousins. Not shocking, though, because a knee-on-knee injury could end careers. And I'm not saying that's what's going to happen with Nick Cousins, but it's not shocking he's going to be out for a long period of time. Hopefully he will be back soon, though, especially before sometime in like March. Because if he's out for the playoff stretch there, when we're pushing for the playoffs, well, that's going to suck. Because that's the type of guy there you really want for that playoff push late in the season. Now, Leevi Meriläinen, Maryland Sanity, he starts tonight for your Ottawa Senators. I thought for a second there they might start Anton Forsberg. He was fantastic last night against the Toronto Maple Leafs. He's been fantastic in his last few starts. He's only allowed 1 goal per game in his last 3 starts. And, of course, Travis Green did roll back with Leevi Meriläinen on a back-to-back not too long ago, right? So it was definitely a possibility in my books, especially considering the fact we didn't get an update on who's going to start until the first goalie, went on the ice to lead the team for warm-ups. It, of course, was Leevi Meriläinen. And for the Utah Hockey Club, Karel Vejmelka starts for them. A very underrated goaltender, a goaltender I've wanted in Ottawa for a while. Obviously now with Allmark here and Maryland Sanity and whatnot in the mix. Don't see that happening, but a very good goaltender. So tough test for Ottawa, no doubt. With the win, the Ottawa Senators would land into 3rd in the Atlantic Division. They would skip past the wild card and go right into 3rd place in the Atlantic Division. This is also our game in hand on many teams like Detroit, Boston, Montreal, so on and so forth. The Rangers today also lost in regulation in the last second to Colorado. So big opportunity to kind of leapfrog some teams and put ourselves apart from some of these teams that are chasing us right now. And again, I can't remember the last time the Ottawa Senators were in a divisional spot 50 games into the year. Okay? This is a big moment, a huge moment. So to the first period we go, and after 20 minutes of play, it's 0-0. The Utah Hockey Club definitely were the better team, but it was a pretty close period overall. Shots were 13-9 in favor of the Utah Hockey Club. Sorry, Utah Yeti. I hate that. Utah Hockey Club. Look, love the jerseys, love the color scheme. Get a real name, though. I know you wanted to take it slow and whatnot. I don't get it. Utah Yeti. Don't care what the copyright law says. That will be cleared up, by the way. Same thing happened with Vegas a few years ago. It will be sorted out. This is pretty common practice for copyright, by the way, in America. But regardless, Utah Yeti, it's so perfect. It's so perfect. But the Utah Yeti were leading in shots 13-9. Leevi Meriläinen looked calm and composed there. There was a late power play for Utah as well. He made a couple big stops. But Ottawa did not, look invisible in that first period either. I mean, the line of Amadio, Gregg, and Pinto looked great. Really, Gregg in particular, I mean, what a pest. I mean, this guy's such a pest. Had a huge hit there. Got into it with a couple of guys with a grin on his face. He's such a pest. I love Ridley Gregg. He's one in a million, you really don't get many Ridley Greggs out there. And the best part about his game is he has some offense to his game. He has some offense to his game. And we see that here in the second period of play, because with about 7-8 minutes left in the second period of play, pretty even game, back and forth, 0-0. We've been here before, ladies and gentlemen. The Ottawa Senators suddenly are a trap-first team. This is a team that is a hell of a defensive team suddenly, one of the better defensive teams in the National Hockey League. And you see it on full display here. Shorthanded, Schmaltz with the turnover, Artem Zub, a great heads-up play by him to chip it up to Shane Pinto on the 2-on-1. Pinto with a beautiful feed to, of course, the Riddler, Ridley Gregg, 1-0 Ottawa. Shorthanded goal, top-shelf snipe by Ridley Gregg for his first goal in 13 games, also his 7th goal of the year, first at home, by the way. That's absolutely insane. Then we get 1-0 Senators off the short-handed goal. Ottawa's penalty kill might be better than the Ottawa Senator power play when it comes to scoring goals, and Shane Pinto has 8 points in his last 10 games as Ottawa strikes first to make it 1-0 Senators. And when they strike first, they are 19-3-0. When doing so, that is best in the National Hockey League, nearly a .900 winning percentage. Unfortunately, though, just a minute later, just after the power play expired as well, Clayton Keller centers it, and it deflects off Giroux, and then Ridley Gregg, and then in. Wacky goal. No one's to blame, just really a really weird bounce. A fortunate bounce for the Utah Yeti, of course, and Keller extends his point streak to 7 straight games, 4 goals and 13 points in that stretch to bring it to a 1-1 tie after 40 minutes of play, with the Utah Hockey Club leading by 23-17 in the shots as we enter the third period of play. So we go to the third period when Ottawa is tied after 2. They are 6-3-3. So, this team, unlike previous years, they just find ways to win. The Ottawa Senators of the past would find ways to roll over and die, and it would often be there in the third period when they were tied. I'm sure you remember, especially on the road, but just in general, when Ottawa went into the third period and they weren't leading, even if they were leading, if it wasn't a big lead, it was not safe. Often they would collapse and choke it away. Complete opposite this year. And, Travis Green gets a lot of flack for many things. He should not get any flack for how he's coaching this team, because he is pushing this team to heights we have not seen with this core at all. I mean, my goodness, the defensive ability of this team is tenfold better, and more so, the way that they can battle back through adversity is something that they just never showed under the previous coaching staff. And that is a true testament to this coaching staff. Say whatever you want, okay? Say whatever you want about Travis Green. You cannot argue that. So we go to the third period of play, and about 8 minutes in, he needed that one. Claude Giroux, baby, on a pretty feed from Timmy Stu. Sens lead again, 2-1. It's the Claude father, Claude Giroux. G-money, his first goal in the last 14 games, and that was a thing of beauty, and you know that one felt good for Claude Giroux. My goodness, by the way, today was the game of slump busting. Hey, my goodness, we'll talk about that later. But first and 14, you know that one felt really, really good for Claude Giroux because not only did he celly, which is very rare for Claude Giroux, I know, that is very, very rare, but he smiled. He cellied and he smiled. I thought we would only see that from Claude Giroux if the Ottawa Senators won the Stanley Cup, or when, I should say, the Ottawa Senators win the Stanley Cup. So that's a huge goal there for Claude Giroux, and my goodness, this guy is so good and tight. I mean, you just look at the old Claude Giroux highlights, and even his time here in Ottawa, he has so many similar goals like this where in tight, backhand, forehand just makes the goalies look silly. He's so fast and tight. No poke check can even get on Claude Giroux. I mean, he's so talented. That's why he's a first ballot Hall of Famer. That's why he's a legend. That's why he's Claude Giroux. Ottawa leads by a goal again to make it 2-1. And by the way, I'm raving about Claude Giroux, but let's talk about Tim Stützle for a second. What a play here. I mean, my goodness. He faked out basically 3 Utah hockey players, Marino and 2 other guys on the side, making them kind of draw towards him. No look pass over to Claude Giroux, and G-Money cashes it home to give Ottawa the lead right back. 6 minutes later after, Leevi Meriläinen, or Leevi Meriläinen, I like Meriläinen a little bit better, makes some big stops with about 6 minutes left in the game. El Capitano, Brady Tkachuk, he has been struggling the last 10 games, held pointless, the longest pointless streak of his National Hockey League career, longer than his rookie season of 8 games in a row. You know that's weighing heavily on him. You know he wants to break the slump, and he does so here. Jams home the loose puck. 2-goal lead for Ottawa. 3-1 Senators. El Capitano, Brady Tkachuk. The crowd goes crazy. He goes crazy. Look at the way he loses his mind, but more so, look at the way his teammates jump all over him and celebrate with him. You know, that was a huge one for the Ottawa Senator captain, the captain, El Capitano, Brady Tkachuk. What a celly. And moments after, the Ottawa Senator faithful, such an awesome moment. And this is why Ottawa is such a great hockey market and why these guys love playing in this city. They were chanting Brady, 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 because they know how big that was for Brady Tkachuk. This city loves their captain. They have their captain's back, and that was a massive one to secure the deal. Leevi Meriläinen makes some big stops to finish off the game. Utah got close, but not close enough, as your Sens win 3-1 over the Utah Yeti, the Utah Hockey Club, Utah, as Ottawa wins back-to-back on the weekend. And Ottawa is now 3rd in the Atlantic Division with 56 points and 26 victories. Your Ottawa Senators are in a divisional spot with not even 30, 40 games to go. My goodness. Your Ottawa Senators, we were hoping to be, in the wild card race. Maybe we should start talking about divisional spots. I spoke about it in my recap a few games ago when we were creeping up there, and now we're there. Now we're there. It's our spot to lose, right? So that is awesome. I mean, I can't remember the last time the Ottawa Senators were in this good of a position this late in the year was 2017. I was still in high school. Since then, I've graduated with honors from university and college. It's been a long time. A long time. Now, Ottawa in their last 3 back-to-back on the weekends are 6-0. I mean, that's crazy. In the month of January, 3 back-to-backs on the weekend, all 6 games, 2 points secured for your Ottawa Senators. I mean, I think we would excuse the Ottawa Senators to lose a couple of those. To win all 6, this team has what it takes to do something when it comes to winning important games, maybe in the playoffs, and at the very least, around playoff time when everyone's scraping for those final playoff spots. This team has that clutch gene and that winning ability that only good teams and skilled teams can do. Again, we knew this team had the skill. We didn't know this team had the ability and the character to fight through adversity. They certainly have that. And on top of all that, they have the goaltending to shut the door, as Leevi Meriläinen tonight stopped 33 of 34 for a .971 save percentage. Unbelievable. Maryland sanity. Allmark might be back, so this might be his last start for some time. He might get sent back down to Belleville. So he gets some starts there and helps Belleville win some games. But this is not the last we see of Leevi Meriläinen this year for sure, and definitely not in his NHL career. What a talented goaltender he is. Stood tall there in the first period of play. Second period, Ottawa definitely played a little better. Third period, they put away the Utah Yeti. But Leevi Meriläinen was really forced to make some big stops there in that third period of play. So, especially late, right? So, Leevi Meriläinen, for a rookie goaltender, looks like a pro. And again, after a couple of rough games, his last 2 games had an .841 save percentage, a great bounce-back performance by Leevi Meriläinen to show that stretch he had was not just a fluke. He's allowed to have a couple of bad games because he's human. So a great bounce-back performance there for Leevi Meriläinen. Now, the Ottawa Senators, I've spoken about it many times already in this video. Their goal scoring has been an issue, and the fact they're finding ways to win is so impressive and shows this team's ability and their character to face adversity head-on. Ottawa in their last 15 games are averaging not even 2 goals, 1.93 goals per game, but in that stretch, they have gone a remarkable 8-5-2 with a win today in those 15 games. When they have scored 3+ goals, they've only done so 5 times in those 15. But when they've done so, they've won all 5 of those games. The Senators also, and this stat might be the craziest of them all, have not lost a game where they've scored in since January 7th. Let me repeat that because you're probably thinking you're hearing things. The Ottawa Senators have not lost a game where they've scored at least 1 goal since January 7th. That was 21 days ago. Just got to give a round of applause to the Sens. I mean, that's scrappy. When you don't have Greg and Giroux and Tkachuk and Norris and especially Batherson going right now, the fact they won 8 out of those 15, not even averaging 2 goals a game, I don't know. I'm feeling like this might be a team of destiny. I might be a little too biased. I might be a little too excited. But wow, the fact this team is finding ways to win and winning these games, I mean, I'm actually stunned. That's actually incredibly remarkable. And again, one more time, the Senators have not lost a game where they've scored at least 1 goal since January 7th. Last 15 games, averaging under 2 goals a game, have won 8 out of those 15. Just crazy. Just crazy. A couple final notes. Stützle and Giroux, 2-point night. Slump busted for Greg, Giroux, and Tkachuk as well. Just a great game all around for the guys that really needed it. And hopefully this can really help spark the offense. The only guy we really need to get going now is Drake Batherson, buddy. You're next. You're due. He knows it. And I'm sure he'll break through very soon because Drake Batherson is a very talented player. The last thing I wanted to talk about is the Senators, it was announced by Bruce Garriock today at the intermission, are set to play 2 preseason games in Quebec City next, or of course for this upcoming camp, and parts of training camp will also be in Quebec City. Now, I like the move because for a couple of reasons. One, it helps you market yourself to much more of a demographic that probably wouldn't like the Ottawa Senators, there in northern Quebec. I've also been to the city. It's a great city. So on that note, the guys are going to go on a retreat with one another anyways, a team bonding trip. This is a perfect opportunity to kind of do both, right? And I was just in Quebec City with my girlfriend. Unbelievable city. The whole town is actually beautiful, right? So this will be a great opportunity for the team to really bond. Now, there was some controversy around this. Some people are not happy that Ottawa is losing a couple of preseason games. They're not happy, especially that some of the training camp will not be here in Ottawa. It will be in Quebec City. And a lot of people are pointing to the fact that the Sens have been in relocation rumors long ago under the Melnyk era to move to Quebec City. Now, that's not going to happen. I can guarantee that. I would bet a lot on that not happening. It's just not going to happen. In fact, when the Melnyk estate sold the franchise to Michael Andlauer, it was written in the contract that they cannot move the team. Now, of course, we don't have the actual writing in the contract. Who knows if there's a clause where he can wiggle his way out of it. But the point is, they're not going anywhere. I'm sorry. They're not going anywhere. I'm not even going to entertain that. However, the controversy is, the Leafs last night had a great showing from their fans in Ottawa, with the rumors in the past of Ottawa's relocation to Quebec City, the arena situation here in Ottawa with the NCC. Some people are saying it's just in bad taste. They're just not reading the room well. I don't agree with that, obviously. I think at the end of the day, Ottawa often has a couple games where their preseason is not in Ottawa. We've seen them often participate in, Hockey Canada, whatever it's called, like the Kraft Hockeyville, right? So I think they're blowing that way out of proportion. But I do have to agree that it is interesting that just like within the week, we're hearing about how the Sens are disgruntled with the NCC and the arena deal is still not done. Some people are mentioning how this could be a ploy to kind of push the NCC and be like, hey, we can go somewhere else. I'm not buying to that either. I think, again, I'm just trying to provide all sides, by the way, because you're probably thinking, Brandon, what the hell are you saying? Ottawa's not going anywhere. They're going to build the arena. Calm down. I agree. I'm just kind of explaining what people are bantering back and forth with on Twitter. I don't agree with it personally. Again, Ottawa often has a couple of preseason games outside of Ottawa anyways, and the training camp being there in Quebec City, again, is a great opportunity for the guys on this team to bond with one another. But one does have to wonder, if this is kind of a negotiating tactic by Michael Andlauer to be like, look, we don't need you. So we'll see what happens with that. I don't really read into that at all. I think Michael Andlauer has a lot of options here in Ottawa and in this local community to tell the NCC they have no leverage, which they don't, by the way. And I guess maybe I should do a video here in the next 2-3 weeks to kind of break that all down, because the NCC really does not have any leverage and they're kind of screwing a dream deal of theirs. But we'll talk about that in a future video, I guess. But the point very simply is there's a lot of controversy around this. I was a little shocked by it, so I'm going to leave this topic off with this. Let me know what you think in the comments section down below about that. Are you a fan of them going to Quebec City? Does it make you wary? Do you not really care like me? I'm kind of in that boat. I don't really care. It's preseason, and frankly, it's just an excuse for me and my girlfriend, maybe some buddies, to go down to Quebec City, enjoy some Sens hockey, and a beautiful city. Now with that, the last thing I'll mention is the next Sens game is on Thursday against the Washington Capitals. So 4 or 5 days off now, basically. So nice break here for Ottawa. And then they have the Four Nations break as well coming up here the next few weeks. So after, again, 12 games in the last 20 days, a nice little stretch here for Ottawa where they can kind of get into a groove and just take a breather. But don't worry, I'm not going to ghost you without videos until Thursday. I have a couple of videos planned and an interview potentially. We had to reschedule a big interview, so that one might be done this week, so stay tuned for that. But at the very least, a couple of videos will be coming your way. Now with that, let me know what you think in the comment section down below after yet another massive victory for your Ottawa Senators. With that, I'll see you all soon. Go Sens, go.